Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Mark's Inspiration. Glad you could join me here today as always. And today, it's a cloudy, overcast, cool October morning in St. Louis, Missouri today. Hope it's wonderful wherever you are in the world. And today's topic is, what is today's topic? Let's talk about imagination and giving. So we'll kind of make it two topics blended together. Imagination. Sometimes when you're a kid, people say, oh, you got too much imagination, or you got a vivid imagination, or you're imagining that. So in a way, when we're young, many of us are discouraged to use our imagination. Isn't that ironic, considering that everything that you see in the world was created by imagination? The chair you sit in, the bed you sleep on, the car you drive, the house you live in was first created in the imagination. The jets that fly around the world, the buildings, the roads, the trains, the tracks. I could go on and on. The computers, this phone, whatever you're watching me on, was first created within the mind of man. But yet, as we grow up, no one ever teaches us to use our imagination. Even the dictionary doesn't really give us a good definition of it. Sometimes it says it's just fancy, other times it says that it's the ability to see things that don't exist. And that's what it is. The unseen is eternal. The thoughts in your mind, in your imagination, the visions in your head never disappear. They last forever. But what is made from those visions decay and corrupt, and they eventually disappear. But the thought is eternal. Creation from thought is not eternal. It rusts and fades away. Even the pyramids eventually one day will be gone. But where did they begin? They began within man, within the mind of man, within thought, a thought of man, the thinker. And guess what? You are a thinker too. Your mind is no different from Elon Musk's, or Henry Ford, or Jeff Bezos, I think that's his name. What's the difference? I would venture to say that one of the only differences is that they get the intuitive ideas the same as you, but they take action and you don't. And as I sit here and tell you this, I can think of thoughts and ideas that I've had that I didn't take action on. Because the thought seems to come from nowhere, but it does come from somewhere. You are probably not the only one having that thought. Have you ever heard of people coming up with an idea, but they don't do anything with it? Then later on, they said, or maybe even you, I thought about that. And this guy made a lot of money off of it, or he helped a lot of people with this idea. The only difference was he took action on that idea that came to him, and you didn't, because of fear, or because of rationalization, or because of justification, or whatever reason. But basically because of fear. Fear that you couldn't do it, fear that you didn't know how. And I have a hard time telling you this because I have a couple ideas right now that I've had for quite some time and I haven't taken action on them. I don't know how to complete it, so I'm not doing it. And that's exactly what I'm telling you not to do. So that's the one thing that helps me out when I'm telling you to do something, and if I haven't done it, it just reverberates within me that I need to take some action on it. And I've said this before. Now, I don't take action on every idea I've had, but there are some that I do take action on. I take action every day. This YouTube channel is something I took action on because I wanted to do it. Was I afraid? Yeah, I didn't know anything about this. I didn't know what a hashtag was. I didn't know what a thumbnail was. I didn't know anything about that. My kids taught me. So I had to humble myself and ask my kids to help me, which wasn't too much. It wasn't hard for me to do that. But it was hard for me to keep going and to keep learning and to keep pressing on even when I wasn't getting too many views. And that's okay, I don't mind that. But that's the way with everything. When I started boxing, I got beat up all the time. So in a way, I get beat up every time I made a video when I first started because I didn't know how to do it. And it was like, kind of knocks you down if you don't get many views. But you just have to press on and keep going and keep seeing the vision of what you desire in your imagination within yourself. And if you keep that vision alive and keep taking steps toward it, trudging the road towards your vision, because sometimes you trudge, sometimes it's happy, sometimes it's not. Eventually, you will get to the vision. That vision will become a reality in the manifest world, so to speak. Just continue and press on and believe in that intuitive thought, that little seed of an idea that started out long ago. But if you don't continue and you don't press on and you don't have persistence, you will never get there, I'll guarantee you. Many people have succeeded because they seem to have this undiable spirit that just presses on in the face of all adversity, all disappointments, and all seeming failures. But there is no failure unless you stop. Unless you stop short of your desire, of your dream, of your vision, of your completed goal, that is failing. But if you don't give up and you keep pressing on, it's kind of like Earl Nightingale said, success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. He didn't say the completion, the progressive realization. Because many times people think that if they get to the goal, that's the success. But the success is in what you become while you're striving to achieve your goal. It's not so much that you get the $1 million or you get to fly a spaceship into outer space, or you win the race, or you win the fight, or you win the soccer game, or whatever that is. Sure, that's great and that feels good, but it's the relationships and the people you meet and what you become along the way. What are you becoming along the way today? Take a look at yourself. Most people don't think, and that's the problem. They think, but they only remember. They regurgitate what the news, what CNN, what social media have told them. They don't think for themselves. If you want to be a success, you must learn to think for yourselves. You do not need to hear all the garbage that's coming in from the media. Do you believe all of that? How many times has it come to pass that you found out it wasn't true? So you need to believe in yourself. Follow your intuitive guidance. But you won't be able to do that if you're constantly being bombarded by messages of other people's and institutions' agendas. And everything you hear, whether it be news, commercials, advertisements, is focused on someone else's agenda, not yours. They want you to buy, they want you to consume, they want you to eat, they want you to drink, they want you to wear this, to wear that, to drive this, to drive that. Now, those things are all good and fine, but what is your agenda? What do you want in your life? Quit listening to what everybody else tells you they think you should have, and listen to that inner guidance. But you have to be still. Shut the radio off, shut your phone off, go into the silence. And some of you say, I can't stand that. Why can't you stand that? You can either be when you're alone by yourself in a room, you're alone in the room with a crazy man, or you're alone in the room with a great man, an inventor, an intuitive man, a mindful man, a man of creation. But that's up to you. If you can't be alone and at ease and perfect peace, perfect peace, then you have some stuff inside of you need to get out. You have garbage within you. Anger, guilt, shame, resentment. And many times these things are within us and we don't really know it because we spend so much time allowing the outer influences to do our thinking for us, to block out, to push down these feelings, these resentments, these blockages to the power you have within yourself. It's much easier to take someone else's inventory than it is to take our own, but much more beneficial to take our own. Now, I'm not saying I've never taken anybody's inventory. If I'm driving down the road and somebody cuts me off, my first response is, man, where'd that guy learn how to drive? Well, haven't I ever done that? Have I ever cut someone off in traffic? Sure I have. I didn't do it on purpose. But you understand how you're driving down the road and you look in the mirror and you even look like this. And there's a spot where you can't see a car. And I've cut over to the other lane, had the person blowing the horn at me because I almost hit them. I did not see them. I looked for them and I did not see them. When you're driving down 6 lanes of traffic, or 8, whatever it happens to be, man, you got to be able to look 3 or 4 different places at the same time. And when you take your eyes off the vehicle in front of you, if they hit their brakes right away, which can happen and has happened to me, then you're almost up into them and you got to stop. So when someone makes a mistake driving around you, don't be so quick to condemn them. Think about, have you ever done that to someone? Have you ever not used your signal and turned in front of someone? I know I have, but yet when people do it to me, I get angry and I have to stop and think, I'm sure I've done that before. So that's about looking at yourself. If you can spot something in someone else that annoys you, then chances are you're either doing the same thing or have done the same thing. But the good side of that is, if you spot something in someone that you admire, you too have that capacity within you to do the very same thing they're doing. So remember that when you see someone, you look up to them, and you catch yourself thinking something like, oh, God, he's just so great, or she, I could never do that. Don't say that, because that is not true. You can do what that person does and more. The only thing stopping you is you. Now, think about that. Hit that like button, subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow.